This will be a short video for the Philosophers in Their Own Words playlist or the Sci-Fi and Philosophy playlist, probably both. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has given us a spectacular illustration of something Kant was talking about, and I've been meaning to go over this on my channel for some time now. Let's go to Kant's Groundwork for Metaphysics of Morals, or in this public domain translation here, Fundamental Principles of the Metaphysics of Morals. Let's go to the first section where Kant says this. I'm going to copy to Microsoft Word so I can more easily highlight or underline things. Nothing can possibly be conceived in the world or even out of it which can be called good without qualification except a good will. Other things may be good, but not without qualification. The qualification is that they ought to be accompanying, supporting a good will. They shouldn't be by themselves. A good will by itself is still good. A good will by itself would still shine like a jewel by its own light, as a thing which has its whole value in itself. Kant tells us to look at the things we think are good, things like intelligence, wit, judgment, other talents of the mind, courage, resolution, perseverance, and of course, money, power, and fame. We think these are good things. We think health is a good thing, and happiness, the general well-being and contentment with one's condition, which is one short definition of happiness. Kant thinks, well, we think these are good things, and Kant points out that these are things we think are good, but now Kant is telling us they're not good in themselves, by themselves. They're not good without qualifications. And he suggests we consider them in the presence not of a good will, but of a bad will, and see what happens. Let's see, moderation in the affections and passions, self-control, calm deliberation. Are these good things? Well, not if they accompany a bad will. Coolness here does not mean awesomeness. It means being calm and collected and in control of the situation. Without the principles of a good will, these things can actually be bad. And with coolness, not awesomeness, but calm, collected control of a situation, a villain is worse. He's more dangerous, more abominable than without it. All of these things turn out to be not good and even bad in the absence of a good will and in the presence of a bad will. These things, if we think of them as gifts of nature, can be extremely bad and mischievous if the will, which is to make use of them, is not good. In a person with bad character, these things are bad things, says Kant. Imagine someone who does not have anything resembling a good will, but has unbroken prosperity. Is that good? We think prosperity is good, but not in the present, not for someone who doesn't have a good will, someone who doesn't have anything even remotely like a good will, someone who does not mean well, someone who is not trying his or her best to do what's right and what's good, is someone who doesn't deserve happiness, prosperity, power, riches, honor, health, etc., but also someone in whom these things are not good, someone in whom all these things that we think are good are no good, and maybe they're even bad, maybe they even make that person worse. So picture someone who doesn't have any of these things, but still has a good will. The good will by itself shines like a jewel, like a Silmaril from Tolkien, and its goodness is unambiguous, even without qualification. The goodwill is good, even in someone who doesn't have any of these things that we think are good. Now picture someone who has all of these things and does not have a good will. Do they become good? No. If anything, they make that person worse. So picture a villain with maybe not happiness. Let's leave out happiness because the character I have in mind might not actually be happy, but the character I have in mind very much has intelligence, wit, judgment, courage, resolution, perseverance, health, power, riches, prosperity, honor, self-control, calm deliberation, moderation. Maybe not in some technical definitions of these terms from certain other philosophers, but using a rough and ready common sense perspective, everyday perspective, which is where Kant is, well, starting, transition from the common rational knowledge of morality to the philosophical. A common sense everyday perspective There's a character in Marvel Cinematic Universe who has all of these things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, all 14 of these things. And on top of that, has the freaking Infinity Stones and is still evil. When without a goodwill, this person is even worse. Thanos has all of these things and the Infinity Stones on top of it. And are any of these things good things? No, they actually make him worse. All of these things are bad things when they do not accompany a goodwill. These things are meant to support, to accompany, you could even say to decorate a goodwill. A goodwill needs, well, a goodwill is good in itself without qualification. I started phrasing it backwards. These things need a goodwill to be good. And a goodwill doesn't need those things to be good because it is good without qualification. These things are only good with the qualification that they must be supporting a goodwill. And the Infinity Stones, perfect example. When Thanos has them, they're a big problem. When the Avengers have them, Infinity Stones are great. They can solve everything. Well, almost everything. The list here: intelligence, wit, judgment, courage, resolution, perseverance, power, riches, honor, health, prosperity, moderation, self-control, calm, deliberation. All of those, bad when Thanos has them, but good when they accompany the goodwill of the Avengers. I think God intended this. I think God intended that eventually some science fiction story would come along that would be a magnificent and almost perfect illustration of what Kant is talking about here. And I think that's what we have. Nothing is good without qualification except the goodwill. All these things plus Infinity Stones, if they accompany an evil will like that of Thanos, are not good things and even make him worse. What is good without qualification? Only a goodwill.